You're welcome back. Now, the Republic of Niger, small Niger, has started enforcing new restrictions on Nigerians attempting to enter with an ECOWAS passport, requiring travelers to present a valid international passport instead. This action comes after Niger's withdrawal from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, joining Mali and Burkina Faso in the move. Despite the long-standing open border between Niger and Nigeria, immigration authorities are now implementing stricter measures at key crossings such as Ilela, Nigeria, and Koni in Niger. This move highlights ongoing tensions within the region following the country's decision to exit the ECOWAS bloc. Our guest this morning is Mohammed Abdullahi, a public relations expert. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mohammed.
Good morning, Nigerians. Always my pleasure.
Okay, Niger is not recognizing ECOWAS passport anymore, even though ECOWAS still allows for Nigerians and other countries of the Economic Community of West African States that have left the bloc right now. They would still recognize them and they can still allow them into Nigeria. But this is what Niger is doing right now. I'd like you to give us your own take about the actions of Niger and other countries that have decided not to recognize the ECOWAS passport anymore.
Yes, but even from your statements, there are actually two different things. The Nigerian authorities are actually not stopping Nigerians from traveling to Niger. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's not the situation. Mm-hmm. Yes, they've left the ECOWAS bloc alongside Mali and Burkina Faso, but from what they've been mentioning, I mean, these three countries, is the fact that the continuous harmony, I mean, the trade relations, and the free flow of movement of the ECOWAS bloc. I mean, people from citizens of the ECOWAS bloc still remain same. We know we have, as citizens of ECOWAS, we can travel via the 15 member states at least and stay for at least 90 days without any document aside perhaps the ECOWAS passport. So what the Nigerians are doing, I mean, the Nigerian authority is actually enforcing now, is not that they are stopping Nigerians from traveling. I think that's not the situation. What they are doing is that since they are no longer a member of the ECOWAS bloc, they are no longer recognizing the ECOWAS passport, which I think is fair enough. Yes. Since they are no longer a member of that bloc, they are saying, no, they can't, they no longer recognize this ECOWAS passport as a means of identification, as a means of legal travel. So if you are traveling, you either present your national passport or any other means of identification that is acceptable to the authorities. Be that as it may, I think many Nigerians do not even really know this ECOWAS, but this ECOWAS passport is this blue. It's not the normal international passport that we used to travel everywhere. The ECOWAS passport is a special passport that is only recognized in the ECOWAS region. And I think it's fair enough for every discerning mind that since they are no longer part of that bloc, they see that as not a legal evidence for you to come to their country. And if you allow me, I think for me it's fair enough, because I think one of the major issues why these countries are actually angry about the ECOWAS bloc is the issue of security. Yes, if they are no longer part of the bloc and you are presenting the ECOWAS passport, they can no longer recognize that. They can no longer read that and then ascertain to say, yes, you are actually from this bloc, since they are no longer a member. So I think it's fair enough. And the fact is it is not that they are preventing Nigerians or other members of ECOWAS from traveling to their country. No. The fact remains they are not just recognizing the special ECOWAS passport as a means of travel, since they are no longer a member of the ECOWAS bloc.
But what was the condition also given to them by ECOWAS? We understand that they still have more freedom to enter other ECOWAS countries than they are giving freedom to other ECOWAS countries to enter their own country.
No, I don't think that is correct. From the last previous meeting of ECOWAS, I mean, which ratified and accepted that these three countries have actually left the bloc. I think some of the conditions is the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, yes, there is still free flow. I mean, free movement of people and trade and so on and so forth. You understand? But I can't ascertain whether part of the condition given by ECOWAS. But I think it's almost impossible that ECOWAS will still pose a condition to a country that is no longer a member. You understand?
Were the options not on the table? Were the options not on the table for these people if they decide to return to ECOWAS?
Yeah, there are options, but you remember that it wasn't just a decision taken after just one meeting or even two meetings. The Nigerians and the Malians and the Burkinabe for over a year or even more have decided to leave the ECOWAS bloc. And there have been series of meetings, in fact, personal meetings and so on and so forth, aside even the collective meetings for them to come back. But they've been adamant and they've tabled their grievances to say no. They no longer feel the ECOWAS bloc is important in meeting their needs and so on and so forth. So after several meetings, after several consultations, even ECOWAS itself have decided to say, okay, yes, okay, we can no longer convince these people to be part of us. We have to leave, allow them be. I mean, allow them go at the last meeting. Less than a month ago, or even about a month ago. So I think, but some of the conditions, it's not even conditions to me. I think it was just a brotherlyhood, what is it called? A brotherlyhood statement from both parties, the ECOWAS bloc and the Nigerians, Malians, and the Burkinabe, to say, okay, yes, you are no longer part of this bloc, but we can still hold trade together. We can still, allow this free movement of our people. Because majority of northern Nigeria is, they have relations in Niger, for instance. Majority of Nigerians have relations in Sokoto, Kano, Katsina. You can't say, since you are no longer part of the bloc, you are just cutting every relation here and there. So I think this is what the fallout of the conditions were. To say, okay, we have free movement as it were, when we were still part of this bloc. But I think it is within the right of this state, Niger particularly now, to say, okay, yes, we allow free movement, but you have to identify yourself properly. Are you a Nigerian? Carry the recognized Nigerian passport rather than carrying the special ECOWAS passport. I don't see anything wrong in that, seriously, because it gives them more room to actually, carry out their security check and properly document people since they are no longer part of the ECOWAS bloc by not recognizing the ECOWAS passport.
Okay, so one of the things that made them to leave the ECOWAS, like you mentioned, is security. But now that they have the Sahel organization and the ECOWAS is different, what do you think this will do to the security situation, the already dicey situation in the West African countries, or West Africa rather, generally?
I think whatever bloc each and every member of the West African state belongs to, what is very paramount is collaboration. No state or no one state or two or three states can do it all alone. Some of the shocking thing is very many of the West African states are linked together via road. In fact, like I said, from Nigeria, you can travel all the way to Ghana via road and even more. Our forests are linked together. In fact, there are some places in Kano or even Katsina or Sokoto that you can just throw a stone and then you'll be in Niger and so on. So whether it is Sahel bloc or even the ECOWAS bloc, what is very paramount is collaboration. Because how these terrorists thrive is the fact that when there is no collaboration, there is no shared intelligence. Remember, people are picked in Niger, they take them to northern Nigeria. People are picked, kidnapped in northern Nigeria. These terrorists take them to either Mali or Niger. So if there is no collaboration, the fact that there is a different bloc wouldn't solve the problem of insecurity. So what I would advocate for, or what I would advise, is that whatever the situation is, whatever the bloc each of the countries belong to, they still have to collaborate. But particularly for a country like Nigeria, that borders some of these smaller countries, Niger, Chad, Benin Republic, and so on and so forth. So we need to play that broader role, irrespective of the bloc that any of these nations decide to belong to. So it is very important that there is collaboration, there is shared intelligence to curtail these insecurities.
But what do you say about the strength of ECOWAS now that these three countries have exited, and owing to the fact that we also know that at the start of this conflict, instead of offering them other options, there was a threat to military action on Niger, at least on Niger. Now it seems as if we are not even arguing on a position from a position of strength anymore. But for ECOWAS itself, the remaining countries of ECOWAS, and in light of the facts that were highlighted by Niger and other people for leaving the ECOWAS bloc, what needs to be done to strengthen this bloc more and achieve the aim for which it was created?
Yes, there's no doubt that the strength of ECOWAS is actually reduced because from a 15-member state, you now have 12. Whether we like it or not, whether we say these countries are smaller countries, but they still possess their strength. So the power is reduced at the moment, you understand? But like I said earlier, what is very paramount, what is important, I think one of the mistakes we made, like you rightly mentioned, while this issue was brewing at its early stage, is the fact that we decided to threaten Niger. You know, I don't know the advisors of the Nigerian government, particularly because the Nigerian president was actually the head of the ECOWAS at then. You know, the advisors, badly advised the Nigerian president to say, okay, you can threaten Niger to make them cow or to make them come back. It backfired. It didn't work. And in fact, I don't know how conversant you are with northern Nigeria. There has been also a little threat, even up to now, within northern Nigeria. There has been the popular praise singer of APC who can no longer step into the soil of Niger, shockingly, because he's been raining abuses, on the Nigerian military president. He's been singing a whole lot of songs, threatening the Nigerian president, and vice versa from Niger as well. So they see him as the supporter of the president, the Nigerian president raining abuses on their own president, and vice versa. So that is the level of deterioration in terms of relationship that we've gone onto. So, but I think we know we don't need this, seriously. Yes, Nigeria is big, Nigeria is powerful, in this bloc, but still, we need all and sundry in order to curtail a whole lot of the problems that we face. You understand? So I think what is important is the collaboration. What is important is understanding and respect. Mind you, each of these countries, whether they are small, even if they are 1 million people, they are a sovereign nation. So we need to accord each country their own respect if we want to end that respect as a big brother. So I think, like I said, what is paramount is collaboration, respect, and then in order to move the region forward. Again, another thing I feel that might easily also strengthen ECOWAS is I read in the news, I don't know how urgent that would be. I read in the news that there's actually a plan, and the plan is on top gear to actually establish a single currency for the bloc, the ECO. I don't know how this is. I don't know how. I think if we are able to achieve that as well, that will go a long way in strengthening trade across the bloc. You understand? Because now it's actually very difficult. In fact, even if you live in Lagos and you cross the Badagry border to Benin Republic, that is less than 45 minutes, 50 minutes away, you find it extremely challenging to spend the naira. So because they don't accept that, you have to change that to their money. But if you have the echo that as it is being proposed fast, I think that will also go a long way. Perhaps that might even go a long way in convincing some of these dissenting voices. I mean, people, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso to perhaps come back to the bloc if they see trade. I mean, the trade volume going on across the bloc.
Well, that has been in the works for a very long time, and we're just hoping that it is getting closer and closer to when it will come to reality. They have been talking about the ECO for a long time. There were some hurdles here and there that needed to be crossed, but we hope that it will happen. We do hope also that ECOWAS will get it right. Individual countries will get it right, especially as we've been shown the way more or less by Donald Trump in America and what he's been saying. And now that it has come to light that some of the handouts that we've been having are actually poisons that we've been given to kill us slowly, like the US aid that has been said to be funding Boko Haram and other things. I hope that African nations will wake up, not just ECOWAS, to put their houses in order and restore the pride that the African man and the African land had before colonialism. Would like to thank you this morning, Mohammed, for coming on the show. You know, it's unfortunate that's all the time that we have to discuss this issue. Thank you. As usual, it was a really big pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
We've been talking with Mohammed Abdullahi, a public relations expert, and we're looking at the fact that Niger has barred Nigerians from using ECOWAS. In fact, any ECOWAS passport is not accepted, no matter what country it is coming from. You are only expected to carry your international passport or any other valid form of identification acceptable to Niger, but not ECOWAS passport. That's the size of our package this morning. We'd like to thank you for being a wonderful audience, and would like to also invite you back tomorrow for another edition of the program. Until then, on behalf of the entire crew, my name is Nyamgul Agaji. Thank you for being there.